Tonight, deputies trying to trace the sender of an email claiming bombs had been placed at Hilton schools. That sender upset over an LGBTQ book available to students.
The threat that came in was based on the fact that a book titled "This Book is Gay" is a selection in the Hilton Library.
We take any threat to our community, but especially any threat to children, we take very, very, very seriously.
Good evening, I'm Matt Malloy. The anonymous sender said they intended to kill school leaders for having a library book that educates about the LGBTQ community, accusing that district of grooming. The book was also the subject of a meeting tonight already planned by some parents who want to see it removed. 13 Wham's Carla Rogner reports.
Yeah, parents have been planning to meet here for several days now to discuss matters like LGBTQ-related books in school libraries. But with that being the subject of today's bomb threat, tonight's meeting got heated. At this meeting Wednesday evening, a few dozen people discussing concerns that This Book is Gay can be checked out at school libraries.
There's some material in here. It's very disturbing.
Hours before this meeting, that same book was mentioned in an anonymous threat to the Hilton Central School District, in which the sender accuses school leaders of grooming children. The sender claiming to have placed bombs at several schools and Superintendent Casey Kosiorek's home. When Olivia Kogel learned about the contents of the threat, the Hilton sophomore had this to share at the meeting.
Whether or not this threat was any of you, you are all here tonight standing for exactly what was written in the threat.
She wanted to show support for the book and for students in the LGBTQ plus community.
I wanted them to see that someone's here for them and that someone's going to step up.
The threat had forced law enforcement to evacuate 5,000 people across the district, creating lines of traffic as anxious parents sought to pick up their children. No explosives were ever found.
It was scary, so I thought that they were actually there.
The Hilton superintendent calling the threat a hate crime.
The book is authored and based on gay individuals, so I think that certainly can be a consideration when people are drawing their conclusions on whether this would be a hate crime.
The superintendent says since the book was added to the library in 2015, it's been checked out 2 times. After the unsettling day, the superintendent sharing plans to have deputies present Thursday morning and grief and trauma counseling available. The threat today is still being investigated. No arrests have been made. In Hilton, Carla Rogner, 13 Wham News.
Rochester area state legislators tonight calling what happened at Hilton schools a hate crime. Representatives releasing a statement saying, in part, the bomb threats are nothing short of an act of terrorism and, quote, this vile and hateful act against our children will not go unanswered.
Law enforcement considering this a terroristic threat. The superintendent considering this a hate crime, saying the email threat condemned a controversial book. Let's get right to Jackie Napier now, live from Hilton tonight with more on this investigation. Jackie.
Good evening, Don. Deputies say an email was sent to some local TV stations this morning indicating that pipe bombs had been placed inside all Hilton schools. At this time, no explosive devices have been found. Around 8:30 this morning, this email went out claiming all 5 Hilton schools and the superintendent's home had pipe bombs inside.
We take any threat to our community, but especially any threat to children, we take very, very, very seriously.
The anonymous sender accused Hilton schools of grooming children and encouraging students to read sexual content, specifically a book entitled This Book is Gay. The Hilton District Superintendent says someone recently attended a Board of Education meeting to share concerns about the book, and the district has a process for investigating those concerns. He called today's threat unacceptable and irresponsible.
Absolutely, I see it as a hate crime. The book is authored and based on gay individuals, so I think that certainly can be a consideration when people are drawing their conclusions on whether this would be a hate crime.
Following the evacuation, streets near the schools were brimming with buses and cars of parents anxious to reunite with their kids. Some students told me they are nervous to return to school tomorrow.
All of my friends were crying, and it got me crying, worrying about how it could turn out and stuff. It was scary and sad.
Dr. Kosiorek says more than 5,000 people were evacuated across the district as a result of the threat, which he said should not be tolerated.
As a father of 3 children who attend the Hilton Central School District, and as many parents stand up here and the many parents that we talk to, it is extremely concerning. So I hope that law enforcement is able to catch the individuals who made this threat, and that they're held accountable to the fullest letter of the law.
Again, no explosive devices have been found. Investigators are still working to determine the source of that email. No arrests have been made yet. Don?
All right, thank you, Jackie. We do point out the school district has now activated its trauma, illness, and grief team, along with counselors to help any students who may need help processing these events. The district also has a safe school helpline to prevent threats or any other potential dangers. You can use the numbers on your screen to leave any tips or information. We also have these numbers listed for you on 13wham.com. Other news tonight, an Ontario County Sheriff's deputy has been arrested, accused of eavesdropping on conversations at the courthouse. 13wham's Carla Rogner spoke to the sheriff today about this case.
Yeah, Don, Deputy Adam Broadwell was arrested yesterday and suspended without pay. He's been with the department for 20 years, and the sheriff's office says there had never been an issue until earlier this year when someone reported he was using a special device to eavesdrop. Ontario County Sheriff David Sorencione calls the accusations against Deputy Adam Broadwell upsetting.
Any deviation from the ethical behavior essential to the law enforcement profession or lack of adherence to the laws we are sworn to uphold is not acceptable and will be dealt with accordingly.
He says in January, someone reported Deputy Broadwell, who worked the security detail at the courthouse, was using an electronic device to listen into private conversations.
It was in his ear. Okay. It was a earbud that's designed to cut out other noise and enhance the hearing of certain places where it's directed.
Broadwell was reassigned to the jail while the office investigated until his arrest on Tuesday. Sheriff Sorencione could not say what kind of conversations Broadwell was listening to or why, but says it's likely it happened regularly.
You've got family court and there's criminal trials and there's very sensitive information going through that building, and it's our officers' job to protect that and make sure that the people involved in that information dissemination, that they're protected in that state.
District Attorney Jim Ritz says this kind of charge is unusual.
The eavesdropping cases are not routine. They don't occur very frequently. And so the last one I can remember was actually at the old YMCA. I mean, it's been probably close to 20 years. So these do not happen frequently.
In addition to the felony eavesdropping charge, he is also facing misdemeanor charges for misconduct and having an eavesdropping device. If convicted, he faces up to 4 years behind bars.